Hello everyone, Adam here, and today I'll be discussing Gears 5. As always, this is a general impression of the title. For my full review, check out the link in the description. Gears 5's narrative takes a different route from the original games. Whereas Gears 4 simply recaptured the Gears formula, Gears 5 attempts something new, providing more emotional weight to the characters and their actions. The story opens with JD, Del, Kat, and Marcus returning to Azura from Gears of War 3 in an attempt to restart the Hammer of Dawn and use it against the Swarm. Tensions build as you learn new secrets, causing relationships to be tested and some bonds are even broken. Eventually, the Swarm showcase their new biological weapons and how much more of a threat they are. This leads to one of Gears of War 4's biggest cliffhanger, Kat's family lineage, to finally be answered. In addition, Gears 5 explores lore that were previously discussed only outside of the games. The story takes on a much more serious tone. The action is still there, but much more of the focus is put on the narrative rather than the gunplay, to the game's benefit. Instead of having you just survive difficult situations to build the bond between the characters, they all talk to one another, sharing stories and discussing the past. It's definitely different from the previous games, but it's a welcome change and nevertheless allows this new trilogy to stand on its own merits instead of just rehashing what the original games did. Much of Gears 5's gameplay remains the same, with slight changes. Shooting and movement have more weight to it. The iconic crab walk is still here, but it doesn't have the same arcade-like speed to it. Instead, it takes a much more grounded feel, and the animation being used is a welcome change from the original arcadey look. I definitely think it looks better. The biggest change comes from the semi-open world and Jack's abilities. Unlike the previous games where Jack was limited to his role and could only interact with specific objects during certain situations, here you can upgrade Jack and use a variety of abilities such as cloaking and boosting your health with stim. It adds another layer to combat and provides options of how you want to tackle certain situations. You are given 2 open areas to explore that offer side missions. These missions usually offer components and unique upgrades to Jack, which on insane difficulty become essential. There's no fast travel, which can be a bit annoying, but it's a new take on the Gears franchise and it's another positive twist. Instead of just following the same formula and playing it safe like Gears of War 4 did, the Coalition took a lot more risk in both the narrative, gameplay, and even the soundtrack. Whereas the original Gears soundtrack was not always the best, at least to my personal opinion, it served its purpose of having that dark, bleak sound while you killed hordes of locusts. It served its purpose, but here it takes an entirely new tone. Instead of that same bleak, unsettling soundtrack, the new musical score uses a combination of hopeful and somber scores. Those who played the original games will definitely notice a dramatic shift in the atmosphere thanks to these new musical soundtracks.
Once we lift the virus.
Now, despite having an overwhelming amount of positive takes on the new Gears formula, it does suffer from a lot of vexing technical problems. On top of annoying multiplayer server connections, which served as another edifice that I don't want to get into because I'm still wondering what the beta was for, the single-player campaign was the most notorious problem for what I call the saving content of death. Often I encountered a situation where the game would attempt to save my progress, fail to do so, and lock me out from progressing. This happened so much that I was dreading every time that prompt appeared. Worst is that the only way to resolve this was to restart the entire game, go through the introduction, and restart the mission from the previous checkpoint where that saving content of death prompt appeared. You can imagine how angry I got every time this happened during my insane playthrough. On top of all of this, I decided to reinstall the entire game, hoping that would resolve it. So that was 2 hours gone, and the problem still persisted. Oh yeah, and sometimes the enemies will go off screen and prevent me from completing certain missions on only insane difficulty. So you can imagine how angry I was about that as well. Gears 5 takes a lot of new risk, and it's better for it. The explorable environments, side missions, the use of Jack, and the more character-focused narrative provides a much more endearing experience. The only thing that made me hate, and I mean hate, my time with Gears 5 was that damn saving content of death prompt. Either way, hopefully they'll fix that issue with a future patch, but it definitely ruined my experience every time I saw that prompt, even as I play it right now. So there's my short impression on Gears 5. I will have a detailed review in the future, or possibly it's up right now. There will be a link in the description below. So like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Stay awesome, everyone.